Hello again and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking all about Lionsgate, what is it, and very specifically what we can expect from 2025 Lionsgate. Because I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot going on, not just in the world, but for each and every one of us individually. And this Lionsgate is probably one of the most significant Lionsgates we've had in over a decade, specifically because of what's happening right now. So before we dive in, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, especially if you love everything to do with spirituality, metaphysics, and conspiracies and aliens and all the cool things beyond this realm. And definitely share this with someone who needs a little bit of support, a little bit of help, a little bit of movement, and a little bit of information at this time. So first of all, what is Lionsgate? Essentially, it is a sort of portal or vortex. It's a heightened spiritual energy that is created around 8/8, August 8th. So yeah, this happens every single year. And every year there is this culmination of energies that peaks right now at this time. And actually the ancient Egyptians used to believe in Lionsgate. They definitely probably didn't call it that, but the Nile, the river, used to flood every single year around this time. And it really signified a change and abundance and transformation. And so they celebrated this time as well. So this actually goes back quite a long time. Now, specifically, Lionsgate at an astrological level is the sun in Leo, right? So we're in Leo season. And it aligns with Sirius, the Earth, and Orion's belt. So there are some very strong influences that are astrologically around right now at this time. And like I said, it really represents rebirth and abundance and elevated consciousness every single year. So this year is different. And specifically, one of the more significant parts of this year being different is that we are currently in the year of the snake. And if you think about a snake and what a snake symbolizes, there are many things. Two of the main things that a snake represents is the shedding of the old skin, the shedding of the layers. And I always think about a snake eating its tail, right? You know, that's symbology of the circle and the snake eating its own tail. That represents cycles, and specifically the cycle of death and rebirth. I don't know about you, but I have never had a more intense year in my entire life. And I have gone through ego deaths. I have gone through existential crises. I have died. I have come back so many times. And nothing tops this year for me personally. So I don't know where you're at in your own individual journey, but the year of the snake, shedding of the old skin, death and rebirth, and confronting old cycles is my own personal experience with 2025. Now, a couple other things. There are like three major themes that are happening this year in 2025 for Lionsgate. The first one is facing and confronting the past. So up until this point, I mean, we're really just over halfway through the year. And up until this point, you probably should have been doing a little bit of inner work, a little bit of healing, a little bit of dark night stuff, a little bit of, just looking back. And if you've been doing a lot of this deep inner work, then you're right on track. Up until this time right now, we should have all been dealing with old decisions, confronting karmic whiplash, and really sort of replaying what's been going on, not just this year, but in our entire lifetime. This has been a year of revisiting the past. not just revisiting it, but confronting it. So I'm sure you've already seen that there's going to be a lot of old themes coming back, old challenges, even old people or old relationships coming back around. And then you get to make a choice. Are you going to react and respond the same way, or are you going to choose to show up differently? Are you going to make a choice that you've never made before? And that's important. Now, a question for you when facing and confronting the past is, what else aren't you seeing right now? What else in your life do you need to look at? So there should be a lot of reflection. And if you are missing something, then you are going to get hit with it pretty clearly. So this is a good time to just take a pause and reflect and ask yourself what else you're missing. Because if you do miss it right now, you will get hit with it. You will get confronted with it moving forward. So just keeping that in mind. What else am I not seeing right now? What other themes, what other cycles, what other death and rebirth energies am I being confronted with? How did I confront that in the past? What choices did I make? And what different choices can I make moving forward? Now, the second biggest theme coming up for this Lionsgate is dealing with change. Now, the only constant in life, as we all know, is change. And I always laugh because anytime in my life I get surprised that everything is changing, I always just reflect on that and think, why am I surprised? Why do I ever get attached to the way that things are? Because change is inevitable. And if there isn't challenge, then there isn't movement. Like, one of my biggest questions when I started remote viewing was, why is there suffering? Why does challenge, why does suffering, why does disease, why does homelessness, why does poverty, why do these things exist, not just on this planet, but why does suffering exist out there in the universe? And the answer that came back is that challenge creates movement. Challenge creates growth. If all we had was good, if all we had was abundance, if all we had was opportunity, if all we had was everything, then there's stagnation. There is no movement. There is no change. There is no growth. This is the law of polarity here in this universe. It's the law of cause and effect. We can't just have cause without the effect. We can't just have light without the darkness. One does not exist without the other. And that keeps things moving in this continuous cycle. So keep that in mind. Change is the only constant. It's the only thing that we can always expect no matter what. And anytime you get even the slightest bit comfortable or the slightest bit attached to who you think you are and what you think you want, that will be ripped away from you. And that's okay. So, how are you confronting change? How are you dealing with change? I know for me personally, this year, I fought it. I didn't agree with it. I didn't want it. I tried to stuff it down. I tried to stifle it. As much as I think you guys assume I make all of the right choices, I made a lot of wrong choices this year. I did not listen. I didn't want to listen. I didn't want change. And finally, it got so bad of me ignoring the signs and ignoring change that I was forced to surrender everything. Everything I thought I knew was taken away from me. And that was by design, because I wasn't listening. If we listen to the small and subtle signals that are helping us create change, and we choose change along the way, then it doesn't have to be so extreme. But if you're stubborn like me, then it is going to be a rug pull. And I know a lot of you have had that rug pulled this year. And I just want to say you're not alone. And it's okay to make the wrong choices. And it's okay to resist change. And it's okay to feel shitty. But you got to feel it. You got to feel it all. And sometimes when we are forced to surrender everything, it's the only time in our lives where we can just accept change as it is, without any pushback or struggle or attachment or resentment, because we got nothing left. I had and have had no fight left in me. And sometimes that's the only place that we can be to really allow movement in. So I just wanted to remind you of that. That's the second biggest theme right now at this time. How are you dealing with change? Now, there are a lot of symptoms that come along with change. And some of the really big ones are anxiety and heightened emotional states. Could be anger or grief or sadness or overwhelm. And also with change and the ending of cycles and the beginning of new cycles comes a lot of purging. Maybe you had a random bout of food poisoning, or your back hurt for a month, or randomly your left arm went numb and no one could tell you why, or your hair started falling out. That's okay. It's a sign that things are shifting. Could be a sign that you're resisting the shift. And in those moments when you don't know what's going on, it creates more of that surrender. It allows more of that change. So just keep that in mind. And remember that all of these symptoms are temporary. And it will get better. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you're still in it. That's okay. Lionsgate right now marks the time where we are hopefully learning and changing and shifting. And we can get to a place where after Lionsgate, we can then start new and fresh. I believe in that. I trust that. I've got to, because I've got nothing left. And that leads me to the third main theme of this year's Lionsgate. Deep healing, transformation, and new beginnings. We talked about it. Healing, reflecting on the past. Transforming and accepting change in the present. And then it's the rebirth. And that is the most beautiful part of all of it. You come out on the other side a different person. Every time you go through something like this, you come out a different person, a more balanced, a more whole, a more well-rounded, more experienced individual. You have the courage and the strength to take on more moving forward. So remember that you're not just suffering, you're learning for your future self. And there's no way you are ever going to go back to that person before 2025. And if you have been showing up, if you have been listening, if you have been changing, if you have been surrendering, if you have been struggling, then Lionsgate marks the end of that, the transformation, the transmutation of that, and the movement into the next step, which is the healing and the rebirth. And with that, just think about a clean slate. Now anything is possible. And that's where we're going to get to. I gotta hope. I gotta have faith in that. So what do we do next? I've got a little sort of, I guess, homework for you. Now I want to just let you know that this is actually a part 1 Lionsgate video. I'm going to upload part 2, I think, what is it, this Thursday or Friday? Whenever 8/8 actually is, part 2 will be uploaded to my website, and I'm going to go through the next big steps. It's a free video for everyone, I think. I'm pretty sure it's going to be seekers. It might be membership only. I don't know what we decided. But either way, go to the website, log in, go check it out. Because I'm going to now review in that part 2 video the 3 things that we can do to embrace the change, do the deep healing, cut the energy, the cords, and then to really anchor in the manifestation for the next steps. So if you want, go check that out in a couple of days on the website. And other than that, keep up the good work, everyone. I seriously love you so much. And I just could not be here doing what I'm doing without each and every one of you. And yeah, it's been a really rough year. And maybe one of these days I will tell you all about it. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. So I'm sorry about that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Like this video, share it with someone who really needs this information. And I will see you all on 8/8 Lionsgate. Bye for now.